Hey, what's up, guys? Don is Paul here once again with more of those sweet Cobra Kai Season 3 theories. And in this one, let's put together a few clues from the interviews and do what Karate Kid fans do best. Come up with ways to bring Terry Silver back into the series. I mean, let's be honest, Silver's kind of become the Palpatine for Cobra Kai, and I embrace that. Silver was the man. And speaking of Star Wars, while most of the fandom is pretending that Tori is Rey and making bets on who her parents are, I've been listening to the interviews with the creators, and there is a much more logical way to bring Terry Silver back in that doesn't involve him impregnating a woman half his age to give us our favorite hard-hitting bad girl Cobra. So let's get into it. We know a couple of things going into Season 3. The first one is Tori is going to get arrested, but she's not going to do time in jail for assaulting Sam LaRusso. Peyton List doesn't confirm this, but she does use some very specific verbiage in a recent interview about what happens to Tori next.
I feel like when Tori reemerges into Season 3, you do get to see some backstory. I learned a lot about the character too, which was really cool.
Okay, now you don't say reemerge if someone is in the first couple of episodes. William Zabka isn't talking about Johnny reemerging. To reemerge, you have to go underground, so to speak. Almost like you have to do a little time until your trial. Forget all those ridiculous theories about Silver being her dad. Take Tori's backstory at face value. She's poor. Nobody can afford to bail her out for attempted murder, initially at least. She's not getting out the next morning with mommy and daddy's money. Also, we know that some time is going to pass between seasons 2 and 3, thanks to interviews with the creators. I think during that time, Tori will be doing a little time, waiting for her trial to come up. But let's pretend all that didn't already exist. It's been confirmed by Hayden Schlossberg. When asked point blank if Tori's gonna end up in jail, we're told she gets out. Just like re-emerging, you can't get out of something you didn't get put in to begin with. And what about the other Cobras? Hawk is just as guilty as anyone. A couple of these kids assaulted teachers, and even worse, Stingray ran around beating up a bunch of kids. It's not like Tori's gonna be singled out because she cut Sam's arm. Hawk, for instance, goes total manhunter. But then again, Eli's parents may be able to get him out of it. Same with most of the Cobras in Encino. But Tori, she's gonna need some help. Enter Terry Silver, the puppet master. And I know bringing back Silver, Chosen, and Kumiko is a lot for one season. But remember, we don't have to learn it was Terry Silver right off. This might be an in-season reveal my brilliant, genius, nerdy mind is foreseeing. But who says Silver ever went away? As we discussed before, he's referenced quite a lot, whether you know it or not. The All Valley Board of Directors blames him by name for Cobra Kai being banned. The old army buddy of Kreese's that gave him a job, probably Terry Silver. Kreese mentions to Johnny that his army buddy took his famous karate champion picture. Why mention the photographer? Who cares? You know, unless we learn later it was Silver that took it. The creators all know we want Silver back. Bad. And he's coming back. In every interview lately, they hard dodged the Terry Silver question. We'll have to wait and see, or I plead the fifth is always the answer. So how does Terry, the absolute unit Silver, reemerge, as Peyton List would say? Well, Kreese will initially probably get the money to bail out Tori and the Cobras who need it. Tori specifically will need a lawyer. A dirty lawyer. Or maybe a sympathetic DA, like the ones that Terry Silver regularly pays off.
The grand jury, what do you intend to do about them?
Bribe them, as usual. Who's the DA on the case?
Mr. Cole.
Oh, good. Let's invite Willie to dinner Tuesday night, and let's make sure we have his favorite. What is it, poached salmon?
The dojo itself will probably need some PR help, too. A gang fight in a rich suburban high school which causes one student to get paralyzed, one more to get hospitalized with less severe injuries, and multiple others criminally charged, not to mention being videoed and live streamed by 8 out of 10 of the students watching. This isn't some stuff that's gonna stay off the news. But when you think about it, it's surprisingly easy with the right PR people, kind of like the ones Terry Silver would have access to spin this against Miyagi-Do. Robbie Keane is a fugitive. Hawk, in the end, got bodied by Dimitri. Their champion has been paralyzed. Except for Sam breaking a rib, Miyagi-Do got off pretty clean. And I could easily see a spin that could be put on this to make it look like the Cobras were just defending themselves. After all, it was just some scuffle between girls over a teenage boy until this Miyagi-Do karate gang got involved. Come on guys, this is just a fight between rival sports teams, come on! All of our questions about what happens next as it pertains to what happens to Tori, how everyone isn't in prison, and how Cobra Kai will survive after all this can be answered by 2 words. Terry Silver. He never went away. We even get a little clue about this in Season 2 when Johnny asks Kreese about all the places he's supposedly been and if he's actually been there, and then he mentions Tahiti. Now, Kreese might have been full of crap when it came to a lot of things, but we know he really did go to Tahiti in Karate Kid 3, on Silver's dime. So why wouldn't he pipe up and be like, nah, Tahiti was real? Well, because he would then have to explain how he could be living in a VA, broken out of work for decades, but yet afforded a Tahitian vacation without bringing up his very rich and very evil karate friend. How did Kreese strike a deal with Johnny's landlord that wasn't another handshake deal? It's not like Lawrence was paying Kreese. How's he going to afford to buy a dojo out? Why would the landlord even want to deal with some random broke old man? Cobra Kai's been paying off for him. He doubled the rent and still Johnny came up with it. That old fat man talks down to Daniel, and Daniel has bank. But you know who has enough bank to shut him up? Terry Silver. And like I mentioned in the last video, who's going to pay for Miguel's very expensive back surgery? Allie with an eye doesn't do charity work. She's a terrible person. I don't know, maybe somebody who doesn't mind buying a champion and needs some good PR at the time, and scores some pity points in court to boot. Dynatox Industries cares. That's why we gave 50 grand to this poor Latino family whose son was victimized by evil backyard karate while he was trying to be a true people's champ and show some mercy. And finally, let's remember that Kreese and Silver are old school Cobra Kai. All Kreese would have to do is call up Terry and say, "The time to strike and take back what's ours has come." Team Cobra Kai, sponsored by Dynatox, overnight. It's one of those things you don't really think of, but after you see it happen in the series, it made sense the whole time. Well, let's get ahead of it this time. Terry Silver ties the whole thing together. Like I said, he may not emerge early in the season, and I agree, both Chosen and Silver coming back in one season is a lot, but it kind of all makes sense for him to return now. Couple this with Daniel's trials in Okinawa, and the supposed deaths next season, and you have yourself a dark season 3. But again, if Cobra Kai is an action drama that's going to run 6 seasons, you kind of need a darker one in the middle where things get really bad. Daniel might even return to find out that the All Valley is now sponsored by Dynatox, and he's been kicked out. I think we are in for one wild ride in season 3, and that it's going to set us up for even more excitement in the future. But what do you think? I would love to hear your Terry Silver theories in the comments below. And remember, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more Cobra Kai videos.